Back in time, before EA was using the Star Wars license for free-to-play mobile games with a bunch of paid randomized loot drops, and then trying to put those same paid randomized loot drops in non-free-to-play games, there was a company called LucasArts who made a bunch of Star Wars games in all kinds of varied genres, including educational titles at their Lucas Learning branch. You know, games for kids to learn and not for them to rack up debt on their parents' credit card by gambling on loot boxes or buying microtransactions. Quaint times. One of the first games I ever played was Yoda's Challenge, a fun, basic little minigame collection where Yoda invites you to his crib to send you on some hot missions. In one of them, Jar Jar messed up the Queen's database and you gotta stitch that thing back together.
Misa causing a little bitty accident and crashing the Queen's mechanique.
Now, confession time, I'm actually quite the sucker for a good block puzzle. I know a lot of people roll their eyes at these, and I get it. If they're shoved into some non-puzzle game as a bit of variety, you know, that's probably a little bit lazy and not the best idea for the average player. But my brain finds them very satisfying, especially when listening to other things like YouTube vids in the background. Or, you know, watching Love Island on catch-up. So I was really hankering for some more lately and was trying to remember games that had some, and then of course, you know, where else to turn but Star Wars Yoda's Challenge Activity Center for Windows computers. Yeah, now we're talking, gamers. A nice little touch is that once you're done, you get these little encyclopedia entries on what you just rebuilt. As we find out here, Yoda's interests are peace in all universes, okay? I wish my hobbies were as ambitious as Simpsons Yoda's are. Unfortunately, to justify finding and playing this block game in Yoda's Challenge, I figured I should probably record the whole game and make a video about it, you know, get that bread as well. Look, don't get on my case for playing a baby game. I'm sure you've got YouTubers out there like, I don't know, Dan the Wang or Turbo Todd, whatever the big dogs are called these days, doing reviews on games for kids, without the irony I bring to the table. If Big Man Canoe can do Detective Star Fox, then I can do Yoda's Challenge. I will say that the benefit for an educational game like this to be made with the Star Wars license is that you get weirdly high production values for something so at the bottom of the video game food chain, genre-wise. The score especially is of a high standard, being from the films. The quality of those compositions creates a mood you're not likely to get in most games made to explain basic problem solving to 6-year-olds. As for the other challenges, we have the Gungan Tomb Exploration Quest, which is probably the most gamey of the bunch. You're thrust into first person to explore some catacombs. You're supposed to follow these on-screen prompts to get around, but you can easily cheat the system by looking at your Soliton radar and just doubling back if the little dots that tell you you're on the right track don't appear. As long as you're creating a string of blue dots, you're going the right way, so just throw the instructions in the trash bin. Gotta say, I'm a little suspicious of Yoda here though, because this treasure hunt doesn't really seem to have anything to do with peace in all universes. Hopefully he's not just sending me out to capitalize on these priceless relics from a foreign culture. Of course, this has nothing on the racing scheme he has set up on Naboo.
Select the fastest paths. Help them win, you will.
So in this challenge, the game switches you between playing as Jar Jar or Amidala. Amidala is slow on swamp and lake, while Jar Jar needs to avoid forest and mountain. So you pick the right path and help whoever you are win. Your opponent usually makes some boneheaded mistakes, so it's pretty much impossible to lose unless you're the game's target demographic, I suppose. Though I don't remember losing when I was owning this stuff back in the 90s. So yeah, as I was saying, what does Yoda gain from this? I'm fixing these races for him, basically. Am I fixing them to keep tensions between the Gungans and the Naboo at relative ease by rigging the races, so both sides win a relatively similar amount of times? You just don't know how key toddlers playing Yoda's Challenge were to keeping the peace between episodes 1 and 2 of Star Wars. Damn. The lore depends on Yoda's Challenge. Without friendly competition to keep things in check, these two societies would go back to being in isolation from each other, so we gotta rig a few races. What you gonna do? Either that or Yoda's got some illegal betting scheme going on, which I'm not privy to and haven't been let in on. Is what I'll be telling the cops. Oh, is Yoda the cops anyway? Damn, Yoda, it turns out this is quite an airtight scheme you've got going. With less dodgy context, another game has you sent to Tatooine to make a songbook for young Anakin to remind him of home. Don't liberate his mother from slavery, but get some tunes jotted down. Okay, so the context was never that great here either. This game basically just involves you repeating a few notes that the game will make a full track out of for you. After that, you can listen to a version with lyrics.
R2-D2, C-3PO, R2-D2, C-3PO, R2-D2, C-3PO, yeah! Oh, wonder is R2-D2, C-3PO.
Wonderful. I'm quite certain Master Anakin will be delighted to have this songbook.
See, I don't know, C-3PO. I'm starting to see why the guy went a little loopy.
Qui-Gon is good and true. He taught Obi-Wan just what to do.
The final song you make is, of course, the Star Wars theme, which is a nice touch. They didn't dare put lyrics on that track, though.
Yonder's Massa Spa, Massa Spa.
Judging from the other songs, I think I can guess what they would have been. Star Wars, it is the Star Wars, Star. The best part of this minigame, and perhaps the entire game, is that there's a free play mode, though, where you can create your own tracks. Check out this little jig I made. While you're on Tatooine, not ending the slave trade, you're free to head to C-3PO's pad and let him in on what's been happening with a very tedious word game. More like a wording sim, am I right, gamers? You're supposed to compose sentences, but the slots are a bit too generous when hinting at the shape of the word, so you can basically wing a lot of it by guessing based on the size. You know, if you're a child who hasn't learned basic sentence structure yet, just let you in on another secret for beating a 20-year-old educational game you'll never play. There you go, another excellent tip. Anyway, you get some nice art of scenes from the movie when you've done a paragraph, for which, you know, it's something. Finally, we have a robot catching game where you gotta stop some leftover droids destroying the forests of Naboo. Finally, it seems like Yoda is sending me to do something worthwhile. Personally, I think it's just a cover for all the other activities being so suspect. In this game, you have to replicate the bongo drum beat Jar Jar plays for you to land a trap. Yeah, Guitar Hero it is not. But at least it requires some rhythm, which the other musical game really didn't. The bird being a metronome is a nice touch too. Unfortunately, this one just crawls along at a snail's pace, and it was probably the most tedious exercise to capture for this video. Anyway, from what I can tell, there's no bonus for beating everything, so that's it. A shame I don't have a printer to reprint all the certificates you get for beating each challenge like I did when I was a kid. Probably had that stuff on my wall. Yoda doling out some rewards. Maybe I can just screen cap them and save them on my smartphone to show to everyone, you know? Yeah, I could see that being a good icebreaker. This was quite a nostalgic little trip as an educational game for kids. You know, you could definitely do worse. Not that you're likely to get it up and running though today. It's not like it's up for sale anywhere anymore so you can buy it for your kids. Learning games like this fall into an awkward category for preservation because there are no adults who care to vouch for them, and the companies that owned them probably don't see a big re-release market and likely don't feel like it's especially worth the effort to put them up for sale again when there's a big license like Star Wars involved and you have to navigate who owns what decades later. I really wanted to show off the other Lucas learning game I played back in the day called Pit Droids. A legitimately pretty good puzzle game that I think all ages could enjoy, but I haven't been able to get that one working on Windows 10 yet. There was also another Lucas learning game about Jar Jar, which I never got to play as a kid. It always had my attention though when I'd see it around, because the box art looked similar to Yoda's Challenge. It actually comes with a Yoda's Challenge demo. Yeah, we gotta cover the whole Lucas learning expanded universe on this channel, man. Did these games get erased from canon when Disney bought Star Wars, or were they so obscure they avoided deletion? Might be some hidden canon to uncover here. Okay, well let's give it a go. Yeah,
I won't take any public credits.
Don't know what I was expecting. You know, I think Yoda's Challenge might have gotten a little more attention.
Planets, they are huge and round.
Yeah, I think we're gonna can this video series idea. Yeah, I know, I can't deal with any more songs.
So remember, Earth is one.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with any of this.
And here's the countdown for the start of the race. 3, 2, 1, go! And the Queen takes an early lead. And the Queen heads straight through the trees and races into the lead. Here comes the Queen down the home stretch.